My social skills most of my life have been pretty crappy, and they kind of are pretty much thus far. So, in an attempt to do some type of 12-step work, I'm going to share my experience, strength, and hope. We live in a world now where anonymous just isn't so anonymous. It's just not really part of our society anymore. But I can still be discreet and in private about these affairs and share them for the possible help and growth in my recovery, and to spread the message and to keep moving forward in my program.
It's been years since anyone could be a friend. It's the fear that kills the feeling in the end. Can we face it? Can we shape it? Can we really die? If rain is what you want, all you have to do is close your eyes.
Hello, my name is Rianna, and I'm an alcoholic addict. I was born and raised in Texas, and in my early drinking career, I used to think that it was cool and fun and cute to say that I was a thoroughbred alcoholic. Before I really knew what alcoholism was and what an alcoholic really was. I just thought that it represented that I come from bloodlines that could drink a lot and handle the liquor. My dad was an alcoholic. May he rest in peace. He's definitely an alcoholic, and my mom is not. She's a drinker, but she is not an alcoholic, and it took me some time to stop pinning my disease on her. But I'm glad I finally figured that out. I always felt different from everybody else. I always felt like they knew something that I didn't know. I definitely understand that feeling, that they were getting something on a deeper level, or they were bonding on an unseen level, just something that I wasn't equipped with. So socializing for me was very, very difficult. Some of those times I'd be by myself. I remember I would be on the back patio of one of the houses I lived in Texas. That was concrete patio. And I would just spin my little heart out until I was nauseous and sick and I just couldn't do it anymore. But I loved it. I loved how it pushed me out of my normal state of mind and into this intoxicating dizziness. So later in life, again, I would have some friends show me another way to get out of my normal state of mind, and I called it the choking game. A lot of parents and probably some other people are probably familiar with this, but it's when the kids, I was a tween at the time when I was doing this, and they would cause you to pass out. And it's a sensational feeling, sensational. Anyway, we got busted doing it. My friends didn't want to do it anymore. I still wanted to do it, but nobody wanted to play. I was pretty upset about that, but I've never been uncomfortable in crowds. Just like I said, they got something that I didn't get, and I didn't have it. And I like to watch people from a distance, as long as they didn't appear to me like I was watching them. I didn't like attention. I don't want attention, any more than, I guess I'd say regular people. Some people are really good with attention and it serves them well. And some people, just deal with it. And some people, I'm very, very introverted. Less attention in crowds is better. One-on-one attention can be great, like with a lover or with my mom or something. But it's a very intimate situation, very different in my perception of the world. I also was very jealous. I would get very jealous about everything. That was my cat, that was my dog, that was my dad, that was my mom, that was my friend. And a lot of that, what I understand now is that I heard at a speaker meeting, and I understood now that I was worried. It was the beginning of manifestations of my ego or super ego, whatever the heck you want to call it. But the part of me that was like, oh no, if my friend spends time with this other girl, she's going to see that the other girl is actually cooler and better than me, and she's going to like her better, and then I'm going to lose a friend. So that's a lot of my jealousy stemmed from. It was that when you find out that I really wasn't as great as I wanted you to think that I was, you would leave me. So I got jealous of you spreading your attention out, because then that made what what limited time I was going to have with you, because it was only a matter of time. Anyway, that's how my brain thought, and it still thinks like that to this day, in some form or another. Another thing I learned listening to speaker meetings is that I always wanted to be the best. That was another. I didn't think, when I first came to AA and they said, "Oh, you're self-centered and egotistical," and I'm like, fuck you. You don't know shit about me. That is not how I am. Until the day I heard the phrase that I wanted to be the best. The jealousy thing with the friends started clicking, and then I wanted to be the best. Like, I didn't go out for track because I couldn't risk not being the best, so therefore I couldn't compete at all. I I didn't understand that people, like these kids that would practice in the band or the choir. I mean, sure, some people had natural talents to sing, but the rest of us, most of us, we practice at these things and we get better. And I just didn't understand that that's how that worked. I thought that you are born with these natural talents, and the only reason why you practice was to show off or to get attention or to get signed to a record label or whatever the heck it is you were trying to do. Is either you had it or you didn't, and I obviously didn't have it. And I couldn't risk knowing that was a fact, so I couldn't even go out altogether. So that was when I first realized how self-centered I truly was to the core. I'm 13, and I'm hanging out with girls older than me, 16, 15, 16, hanging out with guys who are actually in the military. It was Cisco. I remember it was Cisco, and the girl was in the front seat, and I was in the back right corner. And of course, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was my first drink when we fell in love, my best friend and I. And the bottle came around, and I took a drink, and it's warm going down. It tasted kind of good, a little bit colder, but it was, everything about it was good. Wasn't like that the time that I tried to drink my mom's, where it just burned. You know what I mean? It was the cheap malt liquor wine, whatever the heck that is. And then the second time it came around, I remember thinking, well, I better get a drink a lot, because it might not come around a third time. There's too many heads in this car, Well, because I'm thinking everybody's liking it like I'm liking it. So I take a big ass gulp, 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 gulp. And immediately the girls that I'm with are, oh my God, you're an alcoholic, da da da. I barely got my first drink in my body, and I'm already being called an alcoholic. Thoroughbred, bragging rights, right? Anyway. So alcohol became my best friend that night, for multiple reasons. Not only did it make me be more, comfortable and confident with myself, that I got the status of being able to do that, and the other girls couldn't, Also, at the barracks, when I quickly witnessed the things that were happening around me, I didn't want no part of. They thought I was drunk and bringing me a trash can, so I started playing up. Oh, I'm so sick. Oh my God, I'm so sick. So I didn't participate. Didn't even have to argue with anybody about participating. They just all thought I was too drunk and left me alone. Alcohol was powerful. It was beautiful, beautiful sidekick in my life. Then I started stealing booze from my mom and, whatever tenants she had renting rooms out to. They usually bought the big bottles of the cheaper whiskey, so they buy bigger portions, and I figured that I could go steal some. Nobody would notice it missing, but, of course they always noticed, but nobody ever called me on it. I don't know, maybe they thought it was my brother or something. I don't know, my mom. I don't know. Anyway. And carrying around liquor and, what I do on my own time, nothing about. So the status of that is starting to build inside of me, You don't really know me. You think you do, but you don't know me. So therefore I'm better than you think I am, because I'm a mind reader. I met my son's father, who was significantly older than me. We'll leave it at that. And I ended up with 2 kids. That's enough of that story. But so by the time I was 17, I had 2 children. Okay, so I get away from him right before I turn 18 and take off with my 2 kids in the middle of the night, and I pick up my addiction. I pick it right back up. I started working in this environment that was very lucrative for a young woman who was living by herself with 2 kids, 2 babies in diapers. So I hit the grind, and I hit it hard. And made a lot of money. Took care of those kids. Best I could. Everything. Kid in my pocket. Doctors, shots, diapers, formula. Paid for it all. That was my world as a baby having a baby. And again, status. This is where the status really started to fester. I was going to show you that I could raise men. And you didn't know what I've been through. You didn't know what I could handle. You didn't know where I came from. You didn't know what I was capable of. You didn't know anything about me. But I did, and that made me the shit in my eyes. I was the shit because I was bigger than my own life. I was bigger than I knew. It was in this environment that I got a DUI. I got turned on to hard drugs, and such an addict, just an addict. Because when the drug was presented to me, I shouldn't do this. I was kind of drinking here and there, but I would, nothing had really like taken hold yet. It was, they were still party favors. There was still a party, and it still felt good. It was still a favor, and I got exposed to the hard drug. And I'm thinking, well, damn, I better try this now because I don't know if I'm ever going to have this opportunity again. So I better take advantage of it, Yeah, that's how my brain worked. So I did. And I got strung out multiple times in those handful of year period. I get strung out and I'd knock it off for a while and I'd, go back to just smoking weed or just drinking. Also because I got a DUI, I totaled my car on the freeway. I'm glad I was 21 when it happened. And, yeah, so that's when it was like, okay, whoa, let's take a step back. And family's looking at me like, what's really going on here? What are you really doing with your time in your life? What's up with them kids? Are you taking good care of them kids? You being careful? And I started drawing attention to myself. Like I said, I was more physically dependent than mentally and bodily, or at least that I understood. I had plenty of everything that I needed, So I wasn't like I was scrambling like I would later in life to feed my addiction. So I maybe that's why the perception is the way it is, So anyway, I get strung out a couple times. I get off probation where I don't have anybody watch me no more, and I trade one white substance for another crystally substance, And I hit hard and fast. I didn't even like it. I was, like I said, physically dependent. It wasn't that I liked it. It was like a cycle, like without even blinking twice, I did it, and I was stuck. So it wasn't even that I really enjoyed it so much as that I had to work. I had to get up. I'm a single mother living by myself. You know what I mean? Excuse me if it sounded as arrogant as I'm about to sound, but it's true. It's how I truly felt. I would hang out with you people, and that was cool, and that was good enough for me, but it wasn't good enough for my kids. So very selectively would people come around my kids. And when that started to bend a little bit, it was like, okay, we got to go. When I started to downgrade what my expectations for the people that my kid was, that's when I went home to mommy. I called mommy, I got to go. I'm sick. I got to get out of here. The guys I was messing around with, it was okay for me, but no, you were not coming around my kids. So when I started to see that shift in my life was when I like, okay, this is wrong. This is wrong, So I made my first move. And I went from, so I left my son's father. I went from Texas to Albuquerque to live with my brother. And then I went from Albuquerque to Las Vegas to move in with my mom, and my mom and my stepdad and family and such. Oh my God, I was so strung out by the time I got there. It's probably the third time I had been strung out on the hard drugs. Like, so strung out. I slept for like, God, I swear to God, I slept for like a week and I was hungry for like 2 months. I mean, this was a long time ago too. This is when it was like, they call biker meth or whatever people joke about. Anyway, I could not handle it. I did not like it. Skin and bones, picked to death, Ugh, disgusting. Just a capsule of a human being. But I knew I was sick and I wanted out. I did not like it, did not like it. So I came clean to my parents and they moved me out and they helped me out. And, so when I first got introduced to AA, through the family, they're like, oh, you think you got a problem? Let's go to AA. So I go in, I get the pamphlet, and that's it. But I know where the building's at, and I understand that they're there. My alcohol picks up real quickly, because, I've unleashed the beast now with the hard drugs. So, and I'm in Vegas 24 hours a day. You can get alcohol. All I had to do was find some money, and I can get some alcohol. But also being home with my family, the need and the status that I had to succeed and take care of my kids on my own had diminished. And I got off my pride, backed off my pride a little bit, and I quit working in this environment that actually catered to my addiction, which is I have come to understand that that's probably why I kept going back for years and years and years. You know, I'm really sick, and in this environment, it's comfortable and familiar, and it's a sick environment, and I can do what I do on a regular basis, and it's not necessarily frowned upon there as long as I'm not, you know, physically hurting people or getting the cops called to the business, then it doesn't, you know. So I know they just, you know. So my family, you know, was like, you know, get out of that business. You don't have to do that no more. My mom's like, we're gonna help you out, take care of your kids, you know, because their dad, you know, you've cut their dad out of their life for, you know, the reasons that you have. So we're gonna help you out because you're not gonna get child support. So I'm gonna help you out. You know, you go to school, get your shit cleaned up, you know, and do something with your life. You know, these boys, you know, this is what you want to do. So I'm very, very, very I feel very blessed and very grateful that I had that. I had a lot of good years that I recall with my kids. Whether I was buzzed at those years or not, I have a lot of good years and memories with my children and being there and just being that stay-at-home mom that raised her kids, you know. So and then when I'm not working, I'm staying at home with the kids, you know, coming in and out of school. I went to massage school of all things, and it was great and it was good, but I had been way too exposed to this other lifestyle that it just wasn't working. It wasn't safe. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. So this is in the round. This is when the men started to kind of like circle through, because before, you know, and you always, this demoralization, but you always start to chip away. They say, you know, people say, oh, I didn't do that. Not yet. That's how I feel. I agree with that. Oh, I didn't do that, but not yet. So this was what was starting to progressively happen to me. Because remember, I told you that before, you know, this was, no, we don't do this. We don't do this. We don't do lines in front of the kids. You know, we don't do that shit. Okay. And as my disease progressed, it chipped away. What was okay chipped away and got smaller and smaller and smaller. So the round of the toxic relationship started, and these men now, they're allowed to come by the house here and there, whatever, in the middle of the night, or, you know, you have to come by in the day. They have to see you. They're getting older too. They're getting older, and they're two boys, and they have questions, and I never fucking. But you know, I'm trying to fill this emptiness. I got this sadness. It's just, you know, it's like a black hole inside of me. You know, like it's. Yeah, I use the word black hole because a black hole is beautiful in its own right, you know, but it's dangerous. You get too close, it's dangerous, and that's kind of like what I was. You know, like it wasn't all bad, but you know, these emotions were dangerous. So I just have this darkness that's kind of growing and festering inside of me, and I'm trying to fill this empty space, you know, because I can't drink too much. I'm not. That's not working, you know. So it's like, you know, I cut back on my booze and I pick up on the marijuana, and it's just trying to balance this out. And then, you know, this is where I hear them say, and it starts to be, well, if I can get to this next job, or I can get to this next guy, if I can, you know, learn to balance my alcohol like this, that I'll be happier. You know, like if I could get to, you know, I get to my kids' thing on time, and I come home and I enjoy my buzz, and I get up the next day and this guy buys me a sandwich, then my life will be better. I have all these things planned out how this is supposed to be, and then but it never would, because, you know, I'm playing God. I'm trying to orchestrate my whole entire life to the nook and cranny to make me happy, and I'm always trying to rebalance it because it's not working, because that's not what it is. I just don't understand this shit. I do not understand this is what's happening. But so I got this round of toxic relationships that I'm going through, and it's probably about the time in my life when I really can pinpoint now, because, you know, I learned a lot from AA, and you go back and you look at your history and stuff. So now I could put words to these things that I didn't understand, and I'm really, really grateful for the program for that. And I was comparing my insides to your outsides, and this is probably my mid-20s is when I was really, really doing this. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, let me look at you from the outside, and this is what you look like. Okay, well, let me do this to my outside, and then I'm going to feel better on the inside. Or if I could present on the outside that I look like this group of people, then you will think I'm like this group of people, and you won't see how really, you know, crumbly I am on the inside. Another thing I learned in AA is that I was getting myself into situations while I was drinking. I was only drinking this time, well, marijuana, you know, a couple maybe pills, but I wasn't on the heavy shit. Okay, I'd quit using that. I was on the legal toxins, and I was getting myself in situations that I needed to be sober to get myself out of, but I was not sober when I got into them, so there was no way I could get out of them. And that is the best way to describe a multitude of events that just kept happening over and over, and different places and different people. And it's like, why does this? It's not even the same thing that keeps happening, but it's like, why is this detrimental, dark thing keep happening to me over and over? You know, I'm not ready to look in the mirror and see that I'm the lowest common denominator. That couldn't possibly be it. You know, that doesn't make no sense. And don't you dare blame my alcohol, because I've been controlling it. You know, either budgeting or whatever the fuck I thought I was doing. You know, but this is what was happening. My addiction, full effect. Okay. But I would tell you it was better because I wasn't on the legal shit. So I get this is really, really, really heavy time in my life. And I start drinking. I make a conscious choice that I need to start drinking every day. And I do this for a while so that I could deal with the life circumstances that I had to deal with, that I had put myself into. And beast is loose, like so bad loose. And now it's like I can't even pull the reins on nothing. It's like drinking every day. I mean, I used to tell myself there was only 3 shots a day, but I would drink the alcohol that was 99 proof. I'd buy the little miniatures, and that's what I would tell myself, I'm controlling myself. But I did the math. I did the math with the point alcohol test, and really I was drinking like, it's equivalent to 6 to 7 drinks a day. That's what the fuck I was doing. And had myself so convinced, oh, it's only a couple drinks, but that's not what my body was feeling. My body was feeling, 6 to 8 shots a day. That's what I was doing, not every day. And that's a lot of money. I wasn't making the kind of money I used to be making. And now I'm living off my family, so I have more of a conscious about it. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do it, but it is hitting me better. It's not my money, I don't have an envelope of cash under my sink anymore. So this is not okay. It's a lot of money, and I'm drinking every day. And I get in this relationship with this guy, probably one of the healthiest relationships I've ever had. I always say that to him, and maybe it's because he's the father of my daughter, and I'm really proud of that, or happy that that's how God paired it up. But that's, and he don't like my drinking. He's probably the first one to say, well, not the first one to say, but the first one that I cared that said, hey, this is not okay. But he didn't hate me for it, didn't try to control me, like other ones would have. And we decided we want to have a baby. I got all these other things going on, and I decided I need to have a baby. And in the back of my mind too, like I feel like especially with the way that I am, let's get this baby done now, because later in life, if this keeps up, let's just do this now. And honestly, in my heart of hearts, I know that if I got pregnant, I'd have to get sober. I'm breastfeeding my daughter, and I'm wasting more breast milk because there's alcohol in it than I care to even, So I realize this obsession has gotten too far, and I got to stop breastfeeding her because I can't stop drinking. And I'm not going to breastfeed her toxic milk. I'm not going to do it. And it breaks my fucking heart, but it's a reality smack in the goddamn face. And I have postpartum, and I got just, alcoholism, and ooh, a little girl saved my life multiple times. But in this part of the story, she saved my life. God used her because we needed each other. And I called AA. I called AA because it was so deep. But I hit a dry drunk spell real quick because, I go into the room and I'm just really grateful that I got introduced to it. I don't need to go too much into that, but I'm really grateful I got introduced to it, even though I wasn't even trying to understand the program. I couldn't comprehend the program. I didn't want to comprehend the program. I knew AA existed. Okay. So I know in the back of my mind and my heart, when I'm ready, I'm going to get sober. And all I got to do is go to AA. But I'm not ready yet. But I'm getting ready. Okay. I'm getting ready, but not yet. How stupid does that sound? But that's what was happening, okay? So I go back to school again to try this again. So I got a new baby. I'm going to school. I got a brand new marriage. And now I'm going to the church. I'm part of a church. So I'm keeping my life just extra busy. I am dry, drunk as a motherfucker. Don't even know what the word means. But I'm still in tornado mode. Maybe it's, level 2 twisters opposed to level 5 twisters. But, I'm still causing damage. I just, because I'm not drinking, I won't hear it. I won't fucking hear it. I can't understand it. I don't know because I'm not reading my big book. I'm not going to meetings. I'm not talking to people. I'm not understanding what this disease truly is to a sober alcoholic. Okay? Alcoholism doesn't just affect somebody when they're drinking. And this is when I heard this in a speaker meeting too, but this is where I figure out in my life that I learned to talk, and walk the walk, and then I'm up the wall and I'm over and I'm out, and then I run away. I don't even know any other way to explain that, but I just know when I have flashes in my brain of what I've done with my life. There's many a time that I walk the walk and I talk the talk, and then I'm up the wall and over and I'm out, and I run. So I move again, and this time I leave Las Vegas, and I have great reasons for leaving Las Vegas, and I move to Colorado. Well, yeah, I'm running from me. I'm up the wall, over and out. But what I keep running from is inside of me. It is me. I just don't understand this yet. And I'm so grateful again. I'll say this again. I'll say this, for this program, for giving me the words to put on these feelings. I couldn't find them on my own, you know? If I could have figured it out on my own, then I don't know, but apparently I got something to share. I wouldn't be doing this right now. Okay, so, but I still feel this darkness festering inside me because I'm not treating my alcoholism. I'm physically sober, but I'm not living a life of recovery, and I don't know what the difference is yet, but I know that I'm feeling this darkness inside of me. We moved to Colorado, and within 2 weeks of moving out there, I'm drunk. Swear to God, I'm drunk. And I'd be lying to you if I said, oh, I didn't see it coming. I knew it was coming. I even called AA. I called the church. I made these tiny little baby steps. But had I had a better foundation in my recovery, I probably would have able to make it. I would have been able to make it through that fire instead of getting consumed by it. So very quickly, my old life is just back at my doorstep, and I'm looking at it like, whoa, what are we gonna do with it? Well, we've already started. I don't have the humility. I don't have the humility to this day to face the music of a lot of my choices and even my feelings that I have right now. My humility is just, I lack it. I have some, but I don't feel like it's enough to keep me alive the rest of my life at this point. I got to stay in my program, and I'm going to keep working for it. So within being there, I'm drunk within 2 weeks of being there, and I get 2 DUIs within 6 months to the day of each other. And I got this great new job in a bar. My old life's at the door because I tried to go back to the other job, you know, that I just can't stand. I fucking hate it, and I find myself doing it, and the bar seems a lot more inviting to warp around my addiction. And but while I attempt this old lifestyle, you know, briefly, I make a new friend, and I get back into meth. All fucking things. Now it's, you know, 15 years later, so it's not as hard as it used to be. So now I'm actually enjoying the drug itself, which I hope that I don't trigger anybody that might listen to this by saying that, but I'm just telling you the truth of what I felt, okay? So within 9 months of being in Colorado Springs, I cannot even recognize my life at all. It's a familiar feeling, it's a familiar life, but it's unrecognizable from where I just came from college, graduating with honors, you know, to a baby, you know what I mean, a husband, and, you know, my parents' respect, to I'm doing meth in the bathroom of a bar. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Just, you know, I could throw all kinds of, you know, garnishy details onto that, but I think I made my point very clear. And I'm entering into a new stage of addiction that I'm not familiar with. I don't understand at the time. I just know that this happens, you know, I feel it happen. And in doing so, I end up losing everything. Because I got these 2 DUIs, right? And I'm losing everything. I have to send my kids away. Because I got to do time. I'm going to do time. And I let go of my lease on my apartment because I'm going to do time. You know, it's just all these different things, and these you know, all these things I've been juggling my whole entire life. You know, I can juggle them until I can't, you know, and that's just how that goes. So I'm gonna lose everything, and the meth is getting real bad, and I'm just a mess. I'm getting sicker and sicker mentally, emotionally, physically, and I have no kids. My whole identity is not even anywhere in sight. You know, this is what I've been my whole life, is this battle-born mother, and that was my identity, and there's no kid in sight, so I'm lost. I'm just fucking lost, and I attach myself to even more colorful shades of men and women in my life. What I've learned is the skid row of the soul that I've been carrying all these years. I just did, I didn't understand it, if that makes sense. Because, right, because, if I always feel like everybody, if I'm comparing my insides to your outsides, I naturally feel like you're better than me. So I was just beat up. My soul was like beat up, tattered, brokenhearted, and blue before I even got out the gate, because I was doing it to myself. Not, so I asked my parents to tell, I opened up to parents again. I'm like, oh crap, I'm back on the hard, illegal stuff again. I need to go to rehab. So I go to rehab and I meet this guy in rehab. And to me, rehab means that we both have the same intentions, that, we don't want to do this the rest of our life. I know I'm going to get sober one day. I know where to go do it. I'm getting ready to get sober. I've been getting ready to get sober since I used again. That was the whole plan, the whole time. When I moved to Colorado and I knew I was going to get sober. And I'm getting ready. Get ready for years. Laughing at myself because it doesn't make no fucking sense, but I know it did in my head at the time. I meet this guy in rehab, and we're gonna ride off to the sunset together, and we're gonna get sober, and we're gonna fucking make it. We're gonna have our lives back, and our kids, and our world. And we're gonna do it together. We're gonna have something we never had, and that's a partnership with somebody who understands us completely, and we live for these kids. I've done it before. Do it again. I want to do it. I want to do it better this time. But my criminal life is just around the corner because I can't stop using, and now I'm losing my mind, and I'm causing so much damage in my life and to my loved ones that the drugs aren't numbing it anymore. When I was working that other life, or dealing with those toxic relationships, the alcohol was always enough of a buffer that the next morning it's like I could, I had bits and pieces of pictures of, I think something icky happened, but it was buffered enough. Just brush it off. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. But now it's beginning. They're piling up. They're piling up on me, and I can't use drugs and alcohol and make them disappear anymore. They're starting to show their ugly truth to me while I'm high, and that's just very, very, very uncomfortable. And I'm running. I'm running from myself. I'm hiding from myself. And how do you do that? You lock yourself in a goddamn bathroom, or you climb into an attic, and you just sit there and you just try your damnedest not to talk and hope nobody can hear you while you listen to all these voices scream at you and tell you what a lousy fucking human being you are. And some of them are real and some of them are not. And you're starting to lose clarity of which ones are real and which ones are not. I'm ready to throw my life under a bridge or 6 feet under. I don't care which one comes first. That this is where I'm at. I can't do this no more. I'm exhausted. I'm losing my mind. My relationships failed. I have no kids. I literally broke something in my brain that will never go back. I've opened doors I can never close. So who I am today is not who I would have ever in a million years chosen to be. So I'm in the midst of this heavy, heavy, heavy use. I go into what I call animal mode. And animal mode is just straight survival. Anyway, reptilian brain. Anybody who's ever been to any type of program or rehabilitation class, they've heard it. It's the reptilian brain. I'm living in it, and I know it's so bad because if you sit down in front of me with a piece of food, I'm going to stare at it, and I cannot not stare at it. Just like a damn dog would stare at your bone. Are you going to give me some? Are you going to give me some? And this is what I'm doing, and this is how I live for years, on and off. And I try to get clean, and I can't. And I try to go to everything else but AA. Why? Because of my humility. My humility is non-existent. I don't have the integrity naturally inside of me to drag my fucking sorry ass into that room and say, hey, I fucked up. I need some help. I heard it in a speaker meeting one time. This woman said that she woke up one day and she knew that she was going to live 30 years, whether she wanted to or not. And how I hear that too. And that was kind of what happened to me. Well, I'm trying to run away from my life, and I'm trying to erase things or whatever, move things around, throw things away, and I'm losing my ever-living mind. I can't stress that enough. It was so disheartening, and I know that I'm not the only one, and I guess I feel if I could put that out there enough that I could be there and help somebody else, like these women and men who have helped me when I lost my mind, But yeah, I knew I was going to live 30 more years whether I wanted to or not, whether I got sober or not. And the idea of living 30 more years in that state of mind was just a death sentence. I mean, it just did not make any sense. It's like, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. And I'm tired of getting ready to get sober. Like, can we do this already? Like, how do you do this? I don't even know. But in the back of my mind, I always know it's AA, and I always talk about AA. I'm going to be a sponsor one day. I'm going to get a sponsor. I tell my PO, I got criminal charges coming out the fucking wazoo. And, stupid shit that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't using, it's situations that I got myself into that I could have got myself out of if I hadn't been using. And then a lot of my situations too that, got me all warped up, I realize now are calculations that my addiction made, in the past to put me in positions to either force me to use or make me feel like what I was doing wasn't so bad, or just, it was just these the darker this world got, the more okay I looked to myself. If I surrounded myself with people who lived in tents and that were camping and that was their lifestyle, you know what I mean? Well, they're doing okay. I'm doing okay. What I'm doing must not be that bad. If I surround myself with men that drink and use like I do, they're not going to tell me to stop. They're not going to tell me to back off because they're doing the same thing. It's like I had to, so the skid row of the soul, I was pushing myself down deeper and deeper into the dirt and finding people that would accept me as I was, as I pushed myself further down, so that ultimately, it would just end. I could end it. And I thought that ending it was the only way to end it. And I can't even really tell you like exactly what happened, except for I know that I hadn't seen my daughter in 6 years. I'm scared to death of her to see me, like I swear to God, I'm scaring children as I walk down the street. I can't even have a conversation with my two adult sons. They're like almost adults, and they're just looking at me with this empathy and this pity in their eyes, because they know their mother that used to just, drink a lot, but she was still their mother, and now she can't even, they're taking care of her like in the worst kind of way, like and she needs them, and it's just, I'm like this shell of a human being, and I'm ready to go to my probation officer and tell her, hey, I need you to lock me up, I need you to put me in jail to get me away from these drugs and alcohol so I can get cleaned up. This is what I feel like I have to do. I have to, this charge that I fought, to get probation on so I could be out in the world, I'm ready to just throw in the towel and say, no, lock me up. And I don't know, maybe it was God working through my PO, because for the last time, I don't know, she looked at me with love and concern instead of stupidity and hate, and I did what I said I was going to do, and I walked my little happy ass down to the AA room. I didn't go to a meeting, I just went to the AA room, and for the first time in over 10 years, I walked up to this woman and I said, I need a sponsor. And she said, I'll do it. And then there we go. And I'd love to tell you it was all sparkles and rainbows and unicorns, but oh, hell no. I mean, how could it be? This isn't TV, this is real life. You got to really do the work. And I really did the work, and I wanted to share more of my recovery on this, but I already feel like it's gone on for a minute, so I'm going to wrap it up and just say the steps changed my life. And in all those years I came in and out of the rooms, it's the steps is the miracle. It's the steps in the stool. And the stool is your basic foundation for your recovery. That's what you set up every day. Your recovery, your service, and your fellowship. Okay, those things have to be intact. You need those foundations. You have to do what it takes to get away from the old lifestyle. And that old lifestyle had a stool of its own. It's just, we're not going to talk about the ugly things that held that stool up, okay? But this is a new stool for a new life. And then you got to work the steps. You got to work the steps. That is how you get through the pain. And I guess I could compare it to a scar. You know what I mean? Like when you get, when you first get a cut on your arm, let's say you get a big gash on your arm from a bicycle accident, okay? Your body releases these chemicals that will cause it to be numb at first, right? And then when the natural chemicals start, your brain, numbing you from the pain, when that first goes away, it starts to hurt again. And then it starts to itch, and it'll hurt, and it'll itch, and it'll scab, and it's just so uncomfortable. That's what the healing is like for real. Only it's emotional. And oh my God, it sounds so terrifying because it kind of is. But that's what it is. It's this emotional healing, and it's very uncomfortable, and it sucks, and it stinks. You know, it's going to get a little bit of infection here and there, and you got to put some more antibiotic on it, and that's what you need the people for, the fellowship and the unity and the program. That's your antiseptic. That's your antiseptic. It's going to help you get through it. I'm so grateful. I'm a little over 2 years sober now, and I dry drunk before for longer than this, and that was crap. That was a crap. I mean, I was had, you know, crap compared to what I have now. But you know, I'm grateful for what I had it then. But everything that I have done has led me up to this point, and in a way, I can say that to cushion myself or buffer myself. But I just know that I live this life that I never dreamed I would be doing. I like to grow plants, you know. I want to get up with the sun in the morning time. I don't always do it, but I want to have a day life. I want to walk or live at day, people. I want to be able to walk into a room and not think that everybody in that room is ready to jump down my throat and tell me to shut the fuck up, you piece of shit drug addict. And just be. I just want to just exist. I want to be around people. I want my loved ones to, you know they can walk up to me and put their hand on my shoulder without me jumping or screaming, oh my God, what the fuck are you doing touching me? And I have a lot of those things. I have a relationship with my daughter. I'm a mother to my adult sons again, and they still need a mother. Are you kidding me? Kids always need their parents, and I'm a mother to my sons again. I mean, and I know that there is a horizon I can't even comprehend. I can't wait to get there. Well, actually, I can wait to get there. I don't want to go there the way I am right now. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this big, beautiful life God has planned for me in the state of mind I'm right now. So we just keep trucking forward every day. But I'm ready for this. And there's something out there bigger and greater than my little old recovering addict mind can even comprehend. And I hope that this, if you took the time to listen, I hope that this did something for you. And the one thing that I really want you to take away from this is that a God of your understanding will get you through 12 steps. That's how we do it. That's the magic. That's the big fucking secret. The God of your understanding and the 12 steps. That's it. I love you. Thank you for your time.